Hi, just so everybody knows, this is basically a constant ongoing advertisement so that I'm doing ongoing courses in fluidic thought and fluidic thinking. So if you want to join that or whatever, hop in on that course, just let me know. And what that looks like is we converse. If there's one of you, it's a conversation. If there's two of you, it's a whatever. If there's three of you, the dynamic changes, right? But this is constant. I obviously want to talk about this, right? So I can talk about this to a couple people close to me, but I think it's insanely important because I see people eager to do things like the symbolic world courses and Peterson Academy, and there's this interest in understanding the shape of the spiritual world. There's this Interest in understanding the shape of consciousness. And while I 100% agree with like anybody advocating that we adhere to God, or we adhere to our state of consciousness, we adhere to our being. And so there's different levels that this can happen at, the sociological level, the human level, whatever, but the only level that you can feel, the only level that's here right now is this is happening with the shape of water. And if you look at water, it's spiritually and symbolically always described of and sort of acted in. It is truth. When you ask, like, I've figured this out from multiple different paths, but let's just go with Christianity since it's the most popular belief. Water has always been taught as the entrance into truth. You have to submerge yourself in water to enter into truth, and that's what baptism is. And you'll notice that Christ did not have to baptize people to do this. Christ did not baptize. He had other people baptize. Why? Because they needed water in order to do what he did. In order to enter into God, a human being needs water and another person. So there's this weird relationship thing, but with God, obviously, water incarnate, basically, I don't know, like, not even that, did not need water. The rest of us needed water as a supplement for how we think, how we are, how we whatever. And so water is responsive. Notice that water is responsive and is responding to every single animal and geological, like, impulse. Unlike any other substance, it's in all the animals, it's in all the weather, it's in all the trees, it's underground. Right? That water is everywhere, and it's constantly mixing back and forth between all the things of at least the human persuasion, anything that you're cared about at a human level, the people, the animals, the life, the weather, it's all water is inside of everything that you're concerned with. And so it is literally taking the shape of all things. And so when you immerse yourself in that substance, you start to be able to do what it does. Like when you're in water, you can move like a wave. The instant you're floating in water and you're in the ocean, if you're floating in the water, you're moving fluidically because it's doing all of it for you. Water supplements us and turns us back into spirit. It's light enough, it's dense enough that you float, so you can float and be completely supported by the field of consciousness, the medium within which your awareness takes place, the water of the body. All of your perceptions are, nerves, it's hitting the eyeball. We know it's coming through the sense organs. It's mediated by the body. All of that stuff is happening inside of water. It's being observed by water. You're looking at patterns in the neurology and the DNA and everything else that's the surface of the water. All that stuff is the surface of the water. And then you have a continuous field, right? The same way that the ocean, this wave over here might not seem physically connected to this wave over here, except they're made out of the exact same contiguous field. And so that one field is everywhere, right? So the wetness of the body is a singular unifying field within which all the chemical reactions and perceptions and nerve things are taking place. Everything is saturated and inside of water. And then that water is bent and charged in some crazy ways, and it's moving and flowing, but it's all one, it's all interconnected. And so the patterns in that interconnected body of water is what gives rise to perception. How? What? Who knows, right? Like, they can decode it. There's patterns. So the fundamental blueprint of reality, of human reality, of anything that you would care about, because it's like is being done by water, mediated by water. Like, the energy from space to Earth is largely mediated by water. The rain comes down, the evaporation goes up. It mediates. It's like mediating every single stage. And it's intermixable, it's interchangeable. If you poured all the water together, it would all be water with all of the different things that it had dissolved in it. It's not different parts of water that experience different things. Nobody can find that anywhere. It could possibly exist hypothetically, but it's like when you have a medium, a field or whatever, the whole field is a shared single electron ether medium. Like, everything that you're touching and falling down into that forms a surface, everything that has surface that's like connected to your eyesight, right? My arm has surface, and I'm resting on the car, I'm resting on the truck. That resting, that compression, that meeting, when that happens, this electromagnetic surface is contiguous. Anything that you're pressing down into or anything that you're joining into has a continuous field. And then that continuous field has enveloped you, basically, and then your kind of standing wave or your vibrational pattern in that field like transfers into the other body of water, into the ground. Weight, the pressing into something. So how do you have weight? You have to have a body, and it has to be pressing into what? It has to be pressing into the earth. So weight is when that's happening, and that feeling of like, oh, I'm connected, I'm influenced, heaviness, that's a single electromagnetic field forming all around you and contiguous with the earth. Single field. It might be physically, if you were trying to measure it from our standpoint here, it might be very, very thin. A very, very thin, continuous field of water, but it's still continuous. Lost my train of thought. Yeah, but the water is doing everything. So that the degree to which, like, the source of all information, the source of all life is coming out of the water. The water is the thing constantly gathering all this wisdom about everything, mixing together and going back into individuation again. Water is the thing doing that. People speculate that the soul or something other than what's right here is going through all of these cycles of incarnation and development and individuation. Right? People speculate that that's happening spiritually, but it's happening obviously and for real with water. And so just when you study anything, you can start to learn symbolic things about that. Like when you study a tiger, right? You get all the symbolism of tiger or ants or, earth or whatever. All those things have this like meaning network. And so by studying them, you start to notice deeper patterns of things. When you study water, like water is the thing enacting and doing all the patterns. Like even if we're more than water, right? Let's not simplify things down to water. We're like there's no simplification of this. We're all this just as much as we are the water. Like how could the water be consciousness but not the air or the ground, right? But I'm saying water as a stand-in or a fill-in for consciousness, or just as a stand-in for reality. I want to know about reality. Well, which parts of reality are important? The parts with living bodies? That seems to be the thing that people focus on the most. And the parts with weather, climate, right? So an energy exchange going through a biosphere from a charged source. There's energy being exchanged between the earth and the sun. And the water kind of slows it down and makes it usable. It goes through and heats the clouds and does the stuff and causes the rain and causes the evaporation and all that. That's absorbing a tremendous amount of energy. Like the water is constantly absorbing and dissipating and releasing tremendous amounts of energy and keeping it at a chill level where it can be harnessed. And so whatever, there might be more than water going on, but for everything having to do with awareness, the source of being, the symbolism of like what is truly important, what's truly important. Let's not think that what truly is important is some happenstance accident of, oh, what's the thing that I die the quickest without? All right, there's something about the air and there's something about the water, and cut those two things off and you're dead real quick. So the air is like almost instantly and the water is several days, less than a week. Less than 1 week cycle for a lot of people. And it's the most excruciating death possible, I think, possibly. I think dehydration is probably one of the absolute worst ways to die if you think about it. So is that an accident? Symbolically, or in the language of God, is that an accident? Is it an accident when somebody goes, God, what must we do to illuminate each other to the fullness of your presence? And he goes, water, water, water. That's the entry into truth. So if you're wanting to follow spiritual truths and still do science like the way they used to, you have to follow spiritual truths. You have to look at the obviousness of the story and apply it scientifically. Water is the medium which experiences all individual life and all individual patterns without like undergoing any change in and of itself. Water seems to be reflecting God as much as it is reflecting human nature. Whatever human nature is, it's all the bodies moving. So I'll think of all the water moving with all the bodies. That's reflecting human nature. It's going along with human nature. It's going along with our decisions and our attention directions more than anything else on earth. The water is. The water's like magnetically attracted to the soul, almost, you could say. It's some bridge. It's something like that. I don't have it all figured out, but it's obviously there, right? So people are, not having water as your foundation of experiential study. If I'm going to go deep into this, I want to feel buoyancy, I want to feel water pressure, I want to feel the different temperatures of it, right? I want to feel the different currents and things that it can do, because those feelings that water gives me is also going to reflect everything that can possibly happen at these other fractal levels up. They all move. Things happen in currents, things happen in cycles, things happen in patterns, things happen like water contains all the abstract patterns. Think of any abstract pattern and you can experience it directly with water. So that's how it fills in the gaps. Like water does what it does intellectually, the same thing as it does perceptually. It just fills in all the gaps, which is exactly what you would be looking for. So it's these multiple fractal layers of how deeply can you drink in? How deeply can you drink of this substance? This truly psychedelic substance. The substance, the medium within which you put psychedelics is itself psychedelic. If you are able to drink of it, much less if it has like wine in it or something thick, right? Water with some thick substances like meat. With like meat and with flesh and with plant, you have to extract the water out of it, and dissolved in the water is all of the nutrients of the thing that you're eating, right? So when you're eating any type of food, you're fundamentally taking the water itself and anything that's dissolved in the water or bonded to the water, and then you're excreting everything that won't kind of dissolve very well. So you are this water thing, and you're constantly excreting body and dissolving food and absorbing air, and that's going into the water, like it's dissolving. That's how it gets inside of you, right? You're taking air, you're taking food, and you're chewing that up and sucking the water out of it, basically, and that has the nutrients in it, right? You can't get the nutrients unless they're dissolved in the water, and if they're actually dissolved in the water, you could say they are the water. They're sharing field with it. The same way that you share field with the ground when you're resting on it, the nutrients are resting on the buoyancy of the water. So they're in it. So you start out with milk. You know, it's very easy to get the water out of milk, to get the dissolved nutrients out of milk. And it's everyone goes, oh, vegan, vegetarian, or meat eater. It's like both of them just, you have to go for the water, and which is a satiation, a desire. It's this thing where if you believe in the food, you will take the nutrients out of it and expel the waste, and that's an active mentality on your part. So diet is based off of the mentality within which you're like really there, participating in the digestion and trying to take the nutrients, to take the water out of the food and the associated water. There's chemical bonds and stuff in there as well. So you're taking, dissolving, breaking down all the stuff and all the material, right? Even so, in the gut, you're doing this bioreaction to where you've eaten something, and then the bacteria and the enzymes start breaking that something down so that more and more of it can dissolve. You're trying to dissolve everything into the water, and then you're taking that water, and then that water joins you, and so you get all the nutrients in the water. And then all those nutrients are kind of dissolving. They're going up. They're becoming invisible. They're going into water, like the same way that you dissolve sugar. Like that's what you're doing when you're digesting. Is you change the water into an acid, so it's capable of dissolving the stuff, and you're basically offering it up to spirit. Right? You're taking physical matter. It's not so much that you're taking physical matter and sacrificing it or whatever, but you're taking the water and sort of offering to give that individual's perspective to the gods. Right? That's what you're doing with a human sacrifice or with something else. As you kill that person reunites with the Godhead. Right? So then that mentality or the hopes, the wishes, the qualities of that person, you're hoping influence the main body of water that they're returning to. Like, can this person have an effect, right? So, people do the innocent thing, or like, everyone's like, why is this happening? Why is consciousness doing this? What does God want? What does God want with this, suffering? Like, it wants, like, does the God want destruction? Like, let's give them destruction of innocence. That's my only speculation as to how that sort of human sacrifice works, or sacrifice in general, right? We're sacrificing normal food to it. You can sacrifice anything to yourself. People can sacrifice plants, animals, and it's like the mentality or the way that you eat food determines what you absorb. And then there's just different methods of digestion. The interpenetration of spirit has digestion and deposition, undissolving. The creation of body is happening everywhere, at all levels, all at once, because everything that you can see is happening in the body, and so that's what it's doing. Like, that's the background or the foundation of all this. And so really, like, with just a short amount of study, you too can become a master of symbolic thinking, because it's not something you learn, It's actually kind of a behavioral pattern like swimming, where you give yourself over to the buoyancy of your being. And so, as God commanded and instructed, you can use water to facilitate and connect and enhance somebody's spirit in that way, right? Baptism might be the ultimate one, but like whatever. Like if water can baptize people, holy crap, we could use it for all sorts of lesser things. Like we can use it to illumine the mind in that scientific method. I'm just acting goofy and silly because, like, okay, what do you want me to say? I guess this has to obviously be integrated on a large scale. It solves too many problems to not just be like, oh yeah, no duh, we should all wear shoes on gravel. And some people will be like, well, it makes me a better person and builds my character if I don't wear shoes on gravel. It's like, okay, cool, but like shoes, man, sometimes it's a game changer. Wheels, yes. Sticks, yes. Let's stick with sticks. No more guns. No ranged magic. Let the water touch.